Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about cars, and more specifically, we're talking about pickup trucks. Why you should own one, why you shouldn't own one, and if we're being honest, why Reddit absolutely hates them. Now, I've talked about this before in previous videos, mentioning that Reddit is a very far left-leaning echo chamber, and you're going to see that here. But what you're also going to see are very strong roots in authoritarianism and the desire to control what people are allowed to drive and not drive, based on a handful of criteria and a lot of generalization about who owns pickup trucks. So, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, this first post, real simple. And it's just, trucks this big should be illegal in cities. And it's a picture of a completely stock Ford Raptor, although it may have some wheels on it, and a woman walking the street with a small child in an ambulance in the background. And this is on Marcus Garvey Boulevard, which I would have to guess. So it's in New York. All right, so this photo is in New York, and it's this Ford Raptor. The question is, why? Why should they be illegal in cities? So if we go into some of the comments, it says, he's an asshole blocking the crosswalk too. What's really annoying is that this truck isn't even as big as they get. I'll concede, that's true. Ford Raptor, although it is a very, very large truck, it's definitely not as big as they get. I'll concede, that's completely true. But so what? He's still in his lane, he has control of the vehicle. If you're concerned about the people walking in the crosswalk, there's nothing wrong here. He has done nothing wrong. Just because his truck is large doesn't inherently make him an unsafe driver. So the question, and you'll see this question evolve as we go through more of these, is why? Why should this truck be illegal in cities? And first of all, how would you enforce that? So we're gonna make this truck illegal in cities because it's too big, it's too dangerous for the road. This guy's in the crosswalk, so he clearly doesn't know how to drive, just like every other pickup truck driver. How are you going to enforce what's allowed in the city and what's not? What, are you gonna have checkpoints at every single major city not allowing the trucks in? Like, do you understand how ridiculous that is? All right, so now we got this one. It says, enough is enough. We need to ban the sale of pickup trucks to all consumers unless they're able to meet strict requirements to prove it will be used primarily for work purposes. And then it's just the tweet which says basically the same thing, except at the end it says, my latest read for @readpassage. And so it's some guy on Twitter tweeting this basically. So you want to ban pickup trucks unless they can prove that it's used primarily for work purposes. Okay, what about people that don't have a registered LLC? They're a sole proprietor. So that's registered as a personal vehicle. They don't have an LLC. They can still use it for business. What about them? What about people who don't use their trucks for work but still use them on the regular? Campers, hunters, people who just help people move, people who flip stuff. What, are those people not allowed to own trucks? So how am I gonna tow my camper to go camping? How am I gonna go hunting? How am I gonna do any of that? How am I gonna get a deer home? I don't have a truck for work. I don't need a truck for work. I still use a truck though. So now I can't own one? Do you hear this? Do you think this through? This is real basic logic to ban the sales of literally one of the most popular vehicle segments in the United States unless they're able to prove that it's for work. That's just ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd. Oh, this is one of my favorite. And you'll notice a trend here that all of these photos that you're seeing are from people who live deep, deep in a city. So like not even a suburb, like actual city. This is insane size for a car. And it says, I'm the average male height at 5'9". This vehicle should be illegal. And it's a picture of him standing next to a 2017 Plus F-250, which is probably on a leveling kit. So a +2.5 in the front or a +2 in the front. I don't really know how big the leveling kits are for those trucks, but the point is it's on a leveling kit of some sort. It says this vehicle should be illegal. First of all, I don't think the average male height is 5'9". Let's, average American male height. Oh, apparently it is 5'9". Wow, a lot of short guys out there. Anyways, so this vehicle should be illegal because the hood, I believe he wants it illegal because the hood is almost as tall as him and he's 5'9". And so what? Why does it matter that the hood is nearly as tall as you? Are you gonna ban semi-trucks next? How are you gonna get your goods in and out of the city? Semi-trucks have taller grills than that. Oh, well, those are commercial drivers. They know what they're doing. How do you know this isn't a commercial truck? People hotshot with these trucks all the time. How do you know that's not a commercial truck that he also uses occasionally for personal use? Just like a semi-truck driver can occasionally use for personal use. They're not supposed to, just like you're not supposed to with a commercial hotshot truck, but you still can. What's the problem here? Why does the height of the hood matter? Some of these comments show just how stupid this is. Construction superintendent here. The funny part is no one on a job site would ever have a truck like this. Maybe it's because of where we are in California. But this would be a complete waste. Anything that requires that kind of power for equipment we have, especially short beds. My wife's Elantra has more trunk space than a short bed, LOL. Most guys who drive trucks have absolutely no need for it. I have a Lexus hybrid and I build skyscrapers. How do you think the materials get to the job site? Bro, are you that f***ing stupid? I build skyscrapers and I don't need a pickup truck. How do you think the materials get to the job site? They're transported there with trucks. Well, those are just the big commercial trucks. Those are the semi trucks or the big trucks with cat engines. Do you know how many people I know, like here where I live, they're not building skyscrapers, but they're still deep in construction. They're building homes, they're building roads, etc. that just use their like a Duramax powered Silverado 2500 to transport around company equipment. Say, it's like a cat mini excavator or it's a skid loader or whatever. Like people use their personal trucks to transport this equipment around and materials. How do you think it gets built? How dumb are you? I've always said it as if this man is like a person of power or somebody that, somebody listens to, like like a Ben Shapiro or the guy from the H3H3 podcast or something. I've always said it. That's right. You should be listening to me. I've always said it. It should be illegal to own a truck if you can't prove you need it for truck only purposes. Attached is this video that will have no sound because of copyright issues. And it's a diesel truck just rolling coal on a bunch of people at like an outside patio. And I will concede, yeah, that guy was a complete fool for doing that to, innocent people trying to have lunch or whatever. But that one individual doesn't represent every other truck owner. As a matter of fact, everyone that I know that has a diesel truck that has them tuned and deleted doesn't roll that much coal because functionally there's really no reason to for the majority of trucks. So this is just one asshole who's rolling coal because his fuel's cranked way up for more than likely close to no reason, but that doesn't mean that's all pickup trucks. Oh, this one is next level stupid. So this says, I hate pickup trucks. We have a diagram. We have an American M4 Sherman, a British Cromwell, a German Panzer IV, a Soviet T-34-85, and then 4 pickup trucks. We got a GMC Sierra and a Chevy Silverado, F-150, and Dodge 1500, and then the dimensions of all of them. Did it ever occur to you that tanks have also gotten significantly larger over the years? Everything has gotten significantly larger. You're literally comparing 1940s tanks, or at least the American M4 Sherman, I believe it's a 1940s tank. Let's double check. So the M4 Sherman was from 42 to 57, so it's a 40s, 50s tank. You're comparing a 40s, 50 piece of equipment to a 2021 or 2022, whatever the photo is, piece of equipment. If you look at a modern American tank, it's also significantly larger. Trucks have gotten larger, equipment has gotten larger, engines have gotten larger, tanks have gotten larger, everything has gotten larger. There's no logic to comparing the size of tanks to pickup trucks. Here we go, this is an interesting one. So this is the average truck owner in the USA. Crew cab only because it makes the truck bigger, new truck every 3 years, 9 miles to the gallon, complains about Europeans, hates on other truck bands, doesn't tow, doesn't haul, and like so on and so on. It's also, that's weird that it mentions death wobble because I've personally never seen a 2500 independent front suspension truck death wobble, but regardless, FICO 500, blah, 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 blah. No, this is not the American truck driver. I will concede that a lot of us complain about fuel prices, but everyone complains about fuel prices because right now they are terrible regardless of what you drive. I complain about fuel prices when I'm on my Yamaha motorcycle and that gets like 50 miles to the gallon. So the point I want to make in all this, right, is that there's functionally very little evidence or very little real reasoning behind the want for banning pickup trucks. Now, these are arguably far leftist individuals. You could concede that some of them are centrist, whatever. The whole thing ultimately is rooted in authoritarianism. And I know that sounds crazy, but just hear me out for a second and I'll explain how this whole thing is rooted in authoritarianism. They want these particular vehicles banned, which are pickup trucks, especially modern pickup trucks, which are particularly large. And a lot of them are particularly going after 2,500 trucks, but as we saw, some of them are 1,500 trucks. And the whole thing is, well, these are so large that they have become unsafe and the average person does not use the bed. They don't use it for work, so on, so on. They have a crew cab and they only drive by themselves. They have a bed and they never use it. They bought a truck and they never tow and haul. So therefore we need to get rid of all pickup trucks. Now, one, you can already hear that's a massive generalization because I know loads of people who also don't use them for work, but still use them regularly. Hunting, camping, towing, helping out a friend, helping a friend move a car if you have a car trailer, so on and so on and so on. There's a lot of use cases. And then past that, And the real reason this is rooted in authoritarianism is that there's no logical reason behind the want to ban these other than the fact that they have their reasoning, that line of reasoning, right? They have and I'll say it's a fair point. A lot of people have a pickup truck and do not use them for pickup truck reasons. So therefore, in their mind, here's the point. They know that you're not using it for truck purposes and you have a pickup truck, therefore you are basically non-intelligent. They are the more intelligent person on this conversation because you're using something that you do not need to use. Therefore, they justified that it's okay to completely ban it and take it away from you, take away your right to buy it. Here's the thing. Who cares if they are not using it for truck purposes? Why do you care what somebody bought with their own money? Like, why do you care? Why is it such a big issue to you? It's ultimately not about road safety. This is about authoritarianism and wanting to get rid of what you're allowed to own. As a matter of fact, this is almost the exact same line of reasoning when it comes to firearms. Like, this is almost word for word the exact same line of reasoning. It ultimately comes down to authoritarianism. And here's the thing, like, okay, think about all the possible reasons that somebody could be using it as both a work and a personal truck. So think about hotshot drivers, the people that are transporting stuff all over the world. Yes, semi-trucks are mainly used for that, but for time-intensive loads, things that need to get done, that need to be transported very, very quickly, especially if it's from a city to a city or a coast to a coast. Hotshot drivers do that a lot. What about car transporters? Loads of people use 2,500, 3,500, 4,500 trucks for car transport. So now dealers can't get their vehicles. Time-intensive goods can't be transported around the U.S. What about construction workers that need to move equipment or materials from site to site? What about pipeline workers that have massive welders on their truck and they need those for building pipelines? What about farmers and ranchers? They need those every single day. What about people with large trailers who go hunting? Like, there's so many things with that. What about people with excavation businesses? They need to move equipment around, but that's also their only vehicle because their business is new and they haven't made a ton of money, so it's both a personal and a work truck. There's so many instances where a vehicle could be used both as a work and a personal truck, and I will concede the fact that, sure, a lot of people who own pickup trucks don't use them for pickup truck reasons, but that is not a reason to ban them outright, and ultimately that's deeply rooted in authoritarianism, and you cannot change my mind.